Repeat after me. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kind and most glorious Heavenly Father, we're grateful that we could come here today as a body of representatives of this city to work out and explore the issues that are impacting the citizens and coming up with ways to improve both the way we do things and the way the citizens feel and are protected. Please bless us, Father, that we will be able to do so with a clear mind, that we will be able to do so with an open heart, and that we will also be able to get the work done that is needed for the people. This we pray for humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. We'll begin with public comments. If you've got a comment, we'd ask you to come up to the microphone and state your name and the city in which you reside. We'll allow you 3 minutes to speak, and please direct your comments to the entire council.
Paul Sturm, South Weaver City. The comments that I have tonight has to do with the Gateway project primarily. The excerpt that I have there shows the fact that we're down to 57. But one thing with the extracting information does not, let me take these off, show the inclusion of the retention basin that was verbally agreed upon by the city council and the developer during the 27 August 24 city council meeting. The basin was to be constructed during phase 1. This fact is also not shown in the updated development agreement document presented. A suggestion: the phase number, suggest that the phase numbers of the commercial areas be reversed to better represent the actual phases of the residential development and its association with the commercial. And there's another little point, and I'm just sort of wondering why it happened this way. Also, the fact that both the amended development agreement and the second amendment to the development agreement were recorded on the same day. That could be confusing since they were not approved by the city council at the same time. And then there's a representation from the packet of what that is. And my final thing is, I didn't know quite how to present this, but it has to do with the RDA. And since this is the only time that you can make a public comment, as stated above in the packet, the parcels totaled 23.401 acres. There is a difference in the acreage between the study area and the survey area of 0.661 acres. Please explain. And there's another thing that has a little bit of reversal on it. The agency hereby tentatively designates the initial proposed project as the Old Fort Community Reinvestment Project area, the proposed boundaries of which will be within the survey area. The survey area is actually smaller than the development area. So you're trying to stick a 10-pound bag into a 5-pound packet. That's it. Thank you. And you can read the rest of it there as far as the documentation of where the numbers came from.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, we'd like to excuse Councilman Windsor. He's asked to be excused this evening, and so we'd like to mention that. And we'll go into our presentations. We've got Commissioner Randy Elliott here from our county that we'd like to have him come up and
Thank you,
bring
council.
us up to date on what's happening in
What
the
is up to
county.
date? Every day is a little bit different in the county. And so today's issues that we're dealing with is you might have heard that recently the Wasatch Shooters Association, that we had been an entity that ran our shooting range up at Davis County. We did an internal audit and found that they were out of compliance with several things. And we asked to work with them to extend it a little bit as they get themselves into compliance, but we were going to go look for we were going to go look at vendors and then possibly work with them again, but they decided that they did not want to continue with us. And so they walked out of their, they walked off as of August 31st, they walked away. And so
Really?
the shooting range right now currently is getting used by law enforcement. We are working, I've had meetings with had meetings with DNR this last week, no interest in running it for us. We have monies available for grants to help us improve it. The county is internally looking at whether or not we will operate it ourselves internally. So we're looking at what it costs to do that ourselves. And then also whether or not to go out for an RFP and see about getting another vendor that can run it. Some of the clubs have some interest in opening it up to help let the clubs go up and shoot. But we're currently, the situation is that is currently still closed. Law enforcement still can go use it for their stuff until we can get the right. We're checking on our insurances to see how much it would cost us to open it up as ourselves as a county and run as a county as a public shooting range. So that's kind of the latest on that one. Also, our fairgrounds has that transitioned. Blair and me met way back 8 years ago when I first got elected, and we did get that nice arena there in Kaysville built as that transition there in Farmington. That most likely will open up in the spring. We keep getting delays, so most likely probably summer, but we're hoping to have graduations there. But you know how construction goes, everything just goes a little bit slower. On other issues, the homelessness issue, that's something for Commissioner Kamalo and Commissioner Stevenson to ask, because I'm not on those committees or those task force, and so I prefer that onto them. This North Salt Lake site is now off the table. The vendor, after getting death threats and her home vandalized, decided to pull the contract.
Really?
And so, yep.
I wondered
And
why.
so it's so that is still going to be up in the air for the county and the task force to come up with this. The mayors and the task force to come up with that solution of where are we going to do that per the state legislative mandate. And I'm sorry, I'm going to throw some legislators on the bus. It's kind of interesting that when this came out and we had to implement this, some of our legislators didn't realize that they had actually committed to this and made our county do this. And so it's always interesting with, let's read the bill after we sign it. I don't agree with that. Surprise, surprise. So I'll open up to questions. If you have questions on other things that the county is doing, there's lots of different things that the county is doing every day. So I'll open up the council.
Anyone have any questions?
So is the facility in Farmington still going to be the Legacy Center? Or are you
They're calling
renaming
it
it?
the Wasatch, we're calling it WASP. Yes, Western Sports Complex. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I've got Ashley here to talk about her subject, so I can always back her up because I've had 8 years helping get this established and getting other things done for her to help her to understand. I mean, it's been her project I'll let her speak about because I was been involved with that for 8 years, like I mentioned, but we changed the tax rate in Davis County for that purpose of giving them their own tax rate. Because before the contract was with each city entity that they would have to pay a certain amount, and we knew that wasn't feasible anymore. And so per the city manager's orders, we didn't do a special service district. We did a special tax rate and had legislation changed to do that. So that way it still can be under the county umbrella, their insurance, and keep costs down for them. That way, if we would have gone and done like we've done with mosquito abatement and some other things, it would have been their own entity. But in order to keep costs down, we decided let's just do their own tax rate and be still under the county umbrella. But I'll let Ashley explain all that. So if there's any other questions? So
Just one quick question. So I know that it's been a hard couple of years, at least the last 2 years. And before that, of course, we had everything going on with COVID. What do you think have been the big county wins lately? Has the county really been able to just stand forward with something and say, you know what, this was something
So
good
I
that's
think
been
the big
done?
wins for the county, at least in my time, has been working with Consolidated Dispatch. I think we're still getting that figured out. We did one server, but we're still kind of out of compliance, I hear. And so whether that never happened during my time, I would love to see 2 centers, preferably 1 center, kind of operate like the Weaver Morgan Center, where you have everybody in one room and they can operate very efficiently to send apparatus out and in emergencies. I can say when we had the Air Force Base crash about a year ago, we had our dispatch centers trying to communicate, and that's just insufficient. And I love our city managers. I'm going to throw some of them under the bus, but we need to get rid of our territories and stop thinking my side, this is work for me, and start thinking as a holistic. That's kind of how some of these city managers think, is that we run it really well and we run it the best. And the reality is we could do better. And I believe we can do better with our dispatch services. Paramedic program, I think that's been a great transition. You know, we had a battle when I first took office about transitioning that into the local entities, but that's been, I think, been very, very well. I always had concerns about our sheriff's deputies running from one end of the county to the other end of the county is doing paramedic services. It scared me when they were just running code across county lines, and not just from city to city, not county lines, but just running code. And now that we have it locally, I think that's been a great win for Davis County. On other things that wins of Davis County, I think we've done really well with our economic development. Unfortunately, too well. We are a booming county. We have got lots of people moving here for jobs with Northrop Grumman, and with what we've done there to help them to win these contracts. You know, they're a company that's going to be here for 30 plus years, 1 missile a week, they say, for the next 30 plus years of redevelopment. And they're always looking for people, and they're bringing people in from all over, which drove our housing prices up in our community. But then I have to remind myself that my dad had 7 girls. And I've got 4 girls, and they all had kids. And so that is our internal growth as well, that kind of, you know, has hurt us with our families loving where they live as well. And so we have our own demise of ourselves. So on other notes, I can go on and on about the county. Counties, I think we've done pretty good with the wins that we've done the several years of just moving forward. And you notice that we're not in the news that much, except lately when it comes to homelessness. But we try to be a county that runs under the radar, that gets things done, and not having to be, you know, and we keep our tax. We've been very good about keeping our taxes low. I have not raised property tax in Davis County for the property when it comes to a county commissioner level when I've been in office since 2017. And so we've been really well about being very fiscal about our dollars and where to find it and how to develop it, which Ashley will tell you that the county found the money within itself on building the building. We were asking for that tax increase, though, to help us with staff, to be able to staff it, but we were able to find the money within the county to build the building and not go out for a bond or not go out, ask for a vote to build it. I mean, up to spend money to ask the voters to raise their property taxes in order to build it. We found the money within house.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other?
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
And this will be my last city council meeting. I'll be retiring in January 6th. So
I know.
from the county commission. So
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks for all you've done.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Randy, we appreciate all that you've done for the county. Thanks so much. Ashley, you're up.
Hello, so my name is Ashley Young. I'm the director over at Animal Care of Davis County. I believe I've met all of you before. I'm going to talk for just a minute about this little blue flyer that I dropped on your desk. And so the last time I was out, we were just going through the process of getting our contractors and our architecture firm for Animal Care of Davis County. We have now secured them. We've finalized our contracts with them, and we are doing our first initial meeting in just a couple weeks. So we are really, really hoping to break ground on this building the beginning of next year. Our current building is 11,000 square feet, just as a reminder, and we're headed towards a 32,000 square foot building. And that's based on a feasibility study that was conducted in 2021 based on the number of animals and the citizens in Davis County. So this building, its intention is for the build out of Davis County. We want this building to last for the next 40 years. That's really our goal as we're developing it. So with that, we are working really hard on that building. Commissioner Elliott mentioned that Davis County is funding it. It is a $15 million building. It is highly specialized, much like a jail or a hospital. We really want to make sure that homeless animal stays is comfortable and we're meeting best standards while they're with us. And then we're finding live outcomes for them after their stay with us if an owner doesn't come to claim them. With that, we are looking at going through the truth in taxation process this year with a very small tax increase for Davis County residents in 2025. You are almost my last council that I've been through given this update. So I know your first question is how much. And so we are looking at a $12.80 tax increase for the typical home for the entire year. So it's about $1 a month is what our citizens is looking at to help us fund the staffing and operational expenses in our new shelter. And so I just wanted to bring South Weber those updates. I know that you're going to get questions from residents as those mailers start to go out to our citizens. And so I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the shelter or that tax increase.
So is the new shelter going to be built at the same location as the old?
Yes.
It is.
So it's just being upgraded, really? and We're not
No.
losing
It's
that
gonna
property?
be torn down.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
So
whole
we
new
are on,
facility.
we're on 12 acres up there. A lot of that is the side of the mountain. But we do have a front pasture that we intend to build the new building on, and we're going to stay in place until that building's built, and then it'll
Okay.
be demolished and turned into parking lot.
So there'll still be housing?
Oh yeah, we're still
Okay.
functioning. Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to be tight and a little tricky, but we'll be up there. Yeah.
But we're still going to be no slaughter, right?
Oh gosh, no. Slaughter. What? What?
You can tell what my pet, it's my kid,
The
so
correct frame would be euthanasia.
tell it what you will.
Wrong industry. Euthanasia. Yes, we still intend to keep our no-kill status with best friends through that. Yep.
Just one question. Previously, I have been to the shelter to do a service project of going and like taking the dogs out for walks and stuff like that. I was told recently that you guys have kind of cut that off. Is that permanent or is that just temporary or what's
Yeah.
the?
So we put about 15 hours of training into each one of our volunteers. And so we are now asking for a 6-month commitment.
Oh,
So we do have service, like short-term service opportunities available, but most of it is not with animal handling because we have almost 900 volunteers, active volunteers that come up to animal care. And so we are putting all this investment in these volunteers that just come up to walk dogs with us once. So now we're asking just a little bit more from our community for us to get that animal handling in because it is different than handling your dogs at home.
gotcha. So are there like single day opportunities that I
There
could
are, yeah,
take advantage of with my
yeah,
other job?
absolutely,
And
yeah.
who would be the best person to speak to
So
about
you
that?
can reach out to me directly if you'd like, or we have a volunteer coordinator, Jane, and she's available by phone or email.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions for me tonight?
I don't have any.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
Thank you,
coming.
Ashley. Okay, action items. Next item, need approval on our consent agenda consisting of August 13th minutes, August checks, and July budget to actual. Is there any concerns, discussions, or changes to any of these items, council?
I have just one minor, sorry.
Okay.
Raylan, page 13. Page 13 of 95 is on the register and it's really just the description for D's key services, train park concessions. Can we just have that say Canyon Meadows concessions? Just for clarification. That's it.
Anyone else?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the change that Councilwoman Petty made.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, resolution 24-27 South Weaver Gateway Development Agreement, Third Amendment. Any discussion items on this? Before we ask for a motion, Lance, do you have any comments you need to make or?
I'll just address the public comment about the detention pond. That'll be part of the subdivision process and development site improvement plans for the project. So it's not identified in the development agreement, which is addressing land uses. What we're agreeing to there is that it will be this number of land uses, this much commercial, and some of those details. The site will have to be improved across the board, and the detention will be on the west side as at the lowest point of the project. And all the utilities, roads, and everything will have to go in for those first units to go in. So it's just a requirement for the site improvement process. I don't feel it needs to be
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, right.
So did you see my second email on that? The one was just asking, and again, I apologize for my ignorance on the subject. So it is part of a building code. It is a legal requirement that it has to be done based on just the small phase one, not that the entire project has to be completed first.
Yeah, in order it is required to have those utilities and improvements for roads for phase one.
Okay,
But that will be the improvements for the whole site. They won't be able to do phase one and
Without
stop
that.
right at the phase one. All those improvements will go first. The applicant can talk about it.
okay.
None of the sewer or water or anything would go that way unless they did all the utilities.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so it's gonna have to, for part of, so for phase one, they're still gonna complete the detention basin, the storm drain to go over to it, and all of that will be taken. The only question was, one of the first maps that we had actually designated that as phase one. And I didn't know why it was designated as part of phase one if it didn't need to be. So that's what I was just checking on, but. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
My only question would be on Exhibit C, the map here. For the commercial, we have specific square footages for restaurant and retail. If for some reason that changes or we're not being held to that specific amount, right? It's at the top of their,
When it's
Site
actually listed
plan.
on each unit. I mean, if you, and maybe the developer can answer it. That may change, right? If you get a different tenant going in.
So our plan is to meet the obligations under the agreement, of course. So I think really what's going to happen in practice is we'll have 10,000 square foot permit pulled right from the get-go, and we've already got it being engineered right now.
Okay,
So it won't look exactly like that, but it will meet the obligations that we have under the agreements.
perfect. That's kind of what I
That's what
thought.
we're,
Yeah.
yeah.
thank you.
Now, in one of the previous agreements, it was also set up so that phase 3 of the commercial was going to also allow the flexibility for somebody to come in and design their own floor plan, build it to spec, as we talked. Is that out of it now?
So there's
Phase 3's gone, yeah.
Okay,
phase 3's gone, which is phase 1 and 2.
yeah, so nothing on the phase 2 is going to allow for it to be,
Right.
okay. That's all I needed.
Any other items? Look for a motion now.
Mayor, I am excited to finally make a resolution to recommend approval for a resolution 2427 South Weaver Gateway Development Agreement with Third Amendment.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll begin with a roll call vote from Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
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 Okay, unanimous, motion carries.
You didn't even have to stay all night to do that.
Oh.
Oh, you'll be back.
You're not through with it yet.
Thanks, you guys.
See ya.
Okay, next item, real estate purchase contract from the Grahams, the Martinez's, and the Smiths. Any discussion on this contract? I think it's pretty well all done. If not, then we'll look for a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the real estate purchase contract from the Grahams, Martinez's and Smiths for $49.33
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We do a roll call vote here or just unanimous?
Roll call.
Just unanimous. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Next steps for them, just so they're aware, they just need to reach out to David, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Look for a motion to suspend council and move into our South Weaver Community RDA board meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I did.
Jeremy.
Jeremy, Blair second. Yes, ma'am.
I had 2 or 3 seconds, so. We'll give Blair just a second.
Into the board meeting right as they have it out.
Okay, we're in the RDA board meeting. We need to approve the August 22nd, 2023 minutes. For a motion on that.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
One item here, RDA Resolution 24-01, initiating the process of adopting one or more community reinvestment projects area plans by designating a survey area. Everybody understand that?
Mhm.
We need any explanation on that, or everybody good?
I do think we need some clarification.
You want some clarification?
Yeah, I want some clarification,
Okay.
especially with what the public comment brought up.
Okay, Dave?
All we are doing in this item is adding the other parcel. We did this before and it included just the main lot. They split that parcel into two. All three parcels are included in the study area and the project area. And if you add up the acreage of the three parcels, it does equal the 23,401. So the document is correct in how it identifies all three parcels. The exhibit shows all three parcels within the exhibit and the study area. So I think we're covered there.
Okay.
Okay.
Lance and I have been meeting with the other taxing entities and having conversations about this. We wanted to make sure that any participation they have includes both parcels, so we don't have to do two separate study areas and two separate agreements for each taxing entity. So getting this done first, we're really close to the final stages of setting up the project area and the budget. We've met with all taxing entities, staff members. There have been some adjustments and kind of feedback that they've provided. And now we've worked with Zions to kind of update the draft budget and information there so we can go back to those boards and actually have the interlocal agreements for the participation amounts finalized, which the RDA will be one of those. So there will be an agreement that will come between the RDA and the city for that as well.
So do they set, I mean, it's kind of like the question was asked a couple weeks ago. So do they set what the baseline is of what that, because it was an agricultural, there were baselines going off of commercial property. And then the increase with the building is the difference. Are they going to set that baseline? Because I don't think they've ever been taxed based on that baseline yet. Unless they would have in this calendar year, maybe.
Yeah, so the baseline is set prior to any of the construction. We have that established of what that.
You do have that established
Yeah.
already.
Yes,
Okay.
in the project area draft budget that Zions has been part of this study. We just needed to add this second parcel to it to make sure the numbers all were correct. But they have included that baseline before the construction. So the idea is the taxing entities received a certain amount of property tax based on the rates at the time. And then we're establishing that baseline, and it's the increment above and beyond once the project is done, where the incentives or the rebate is. Whatever was already being received, entities will remain and keep all of that. It's not part of any incentive. So only the additional property tax that's generated by the project is what's being discussed.
Right.
And go ahead.
No.
Is there a cost to this? And if so, how is it being paid for out of the
So,
RDA?
Yes, there is a cost to establishing the project area. The city has an agreement with the RDA. And so as board members, we have an agreement with the city council to have the city pay that up front because there's no money in the RDA right now. This is the first project area. Once money is in the project area, then the RDA can reimburse the city for the costs incurred to establish the project area.
And that gets in there through the taxes.
through the taxes.
Okay.
Yes, so again, that incremental, the additional property tax, as part of the budget, there's an administrative portion that is removed out of what has to be given to the entities. So yes, it will be covered by the RDA. The costs of establishing the project area are covered by the RDA. But they have been paid for upfront by the city.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion?
Chairman, I move to approve resolution RDA 2401.
I second that.
Okay, a motion and a second. We'll begin with a roll call vote from board member Davis.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Look for a motion to adjourn and move back into city council.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I did. Oh, man. The only time I get-
He was really
That's why I'm
good
like,
this
"Oh, you didn't
time.
hear me.
I heard you.
I thought I was
Angie
really,
watched.
I thought I
I
was really
did.
good. In fact, I think Angie was gonna nudge me.
I
to-
was.
To make sure I did. Okay, great, we're back. New business. Anyone have any new business they'd like to bring up? Dave, you got anything? Shaylee, how about events? Anything?
Okay, so this Saturday is our mother and son date. It's a picnic in the park. So if you're planning on coming, we highly recommend you pre-register online. So visit our website to do that. It's $10 per mom, so sons get in for free. If you come and register at the event, it'll be $15 cash only. So make sure to be aware of that. Bring your own picnic and your own blanket, and we'll provide all the entertainment. That's s'mores, that's crafts, that's games, just a whole lot going on. So we're really excited about that. And then in October, we have our Halloween bash. So council, start thinking about what costumes you want, and we'll get some candy for you for trunk or treat. So that's going to be on the 28th of October. So start thinking about that, get that in your heads. But
Okay.
that's all I got.
How was the last concert in the park? I
It was
understand
good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. We had a good turnout for the last one. I think now that this one's over, there are lots of things that we want to revisit and see what we need to tweak
Okay.
to figure out what we
Yeah.
need to do for future years. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shaylee, for all you do. Okay, let's, committee reports. We'll start with Jeremy. If you want to begin?
Nothing good for me.
Joel?
Parks and Rec, just one more shout out that tomorrow is 9/11. We do have available projects still open for the day of service for any groups that would like to come out and help the city parks. Everything from limbing up some trees for visibility to weeding, edging. We haven't had anyone sign up for painting yet, so we're going to go on and take that one off the docket because that takes a little more to set up and get everything done with the templates. But we still have some. We're looking at being able to do that both on the day of service and on the weekend if we do get people wanting to participate. Yeah, it is on the city website. Or you can call the number that's on there or the Parks Director directly. I do have one more issue that probably I should have done under the new business. I was just wondering, whatever happened to the conversations we were going to be having with Layton and the small pit up there, the rock crushing and all of that goes on the South Hill. I know that for a while there we were looking at being able to talk to them about reducing some of the transient dust that keeps on, or
Talking about Evergreen right up there.
yeah.
So that's in the county.
So is that anything that we've been able to work on and try to get? Because I thought things were changing up there.
That's actually unincorporated county land, and so we've been communicating with the county on that. They have done some response, and they've gone and looked at that and done some sampling of the types of material that is landing in our city and trying to compare that with the material up there, material from the gravel pits, things like that. The study was pretty much inconclusive. Ultimately, the results were that it was low sand. Essentially, there's always an amount of sand in the air regardless of where you are. And based on canyon winds and northerly winds and kind of the eddying that takes place with the winds above South Weaver, it almost acts as an eddy in a spot where it just drops sand, specifically where they were looking at right below the operations there at Evergreen. And so from the county perspective, it was inconclusive to say that some of what we were receiving was specifically attributable to Evergreen, although they were having conversations about trying to keep the dust down off of that operation specifically, similar to how we have those conversations with the gravel pits within our city. But yeah, the study results were essentially, this is sand that could.
So they didn't use the same study results that Soderquist,
No.
as ex-councilman Soderquist, because he was able to, wherever he was going, they were able to define the difference between the types of sand and that a lot of it was coming from there. So we should have hit Randy up for while he was here. So we're just throwing up our hands, or what's our next step on there? Have we been looking at that?
I wouldn't say we're throwing up our hands, but as far as enforcement goes of their operations, it's in the county's hands, and we continue to push them to tell our story.
I think it would go a lot farther if we send stuff to the commissioners to push them to do something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, the more people, the more they get hit up about it, the more it is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's do that.
Is the detail from?
Yeah, good idea.
Is the detail from Quinn's study somewhere? I haven't seen that specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quinn Studies was mostly set up around the gravel pit area. And
He had
the
some up
Davis
to,
County Health Department did come out and set up their own in quite a few different spots, kind of around the hillside. But everything came back, inconclusive, so. And contributed to, I don't know if it was blow sand. It seemed like there was another terminology, but it was just basically,
I guess my question
but
oh, sorry, please.
but there was nothing in it. It was deemed pretty much like gravel pit, that it's a nuisance, but it's not harmful.
The tough part is if they're crushing concrete.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is I thought the protected status
It is.
that our gravel pits have is more about excavating and the dust that's created from that, not what's created from the mashing and remashing and reclamation of cement. Because I can understand their protection on the state's protection being set up so that they can still keep what they're doing. But now that they're bringing in cement just to be crushed, that's not really part of the excavating part of it. And I don't think the protected status would cover that. And it shouldn't cover these guys up here because they don't do any quarrying whatsoever. Is there any way that we can check on that and find out what the protected status, maybe something Jamie can look at, or? Okay.
I don't think there is any protective status for Evergreen.
I'll look at it. I want to qualify what I look at first because we're a bit limited when it's outside the city's jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
The state code has set up an exemption for what they call critical industries. And then they define these mining operations for sand and gravel, construction materials to be within that. And cities have limited land use authority as it relates to critical industries and limited code enforcement powers as it relates to those industries as well. we of course have no land use authority over property outside of the city's jurisdiction. So those tools wouldn't be available to us anyways. For that exercise, I think what you'd really be looking at is a bit of a trespass or a nuisance type action, but it would have to not be a land use or a code enforcement action. It would have to be a civil suit. And that, of course, is a different cost threshold than if you were just to go out and do code enforcement or to go and speak with somebody. So I think your best place for recourse really is to go to the county and push them to do whatever they can in that property. I'll look at the limitations and I can give you a little bit more detailed advice on that, but I don't think it'll change much from what I just explained.
Okay. Could we visit this at the next meeting? Just kind of an update on what's going on.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay.
We'll reach out to the county and try to have those conversations. Yeah, provide an update.
Thanks.
Since you brought up the Evergreen location, I was curious, have you heard anything since the developer came and talked to us that last time?
Nope.
That's all I have.
Okay. We've got a couple of things that's happening up on the hill at our landfill district. And they're going to be having an open house. So the district is turning 40 years and on September 24th. So they're going to have a celebration on November the 15th of this year. They're going to have an open house and give tours of the facility up there. They've just recently at the Material Recovery Center, where they do all of the recycling, they've put in a new addition up there. Rather expensive to do, but it's a cardboard recovery recycling. And I looked at it the other day and it's really quite interesting. But anyway, they've just put that in and they're going to be able to recover a lot more cardboard. They made the comment that they would, in a year's time, in a day, they would be baling 90 bales a day, and the bales are half a ton bales. So they'll be doing 90 a day up there. That's a lot of cardboard. They figured they would be running, a semi truck can haul 40 bales. So they'd be running 2 semi trucks out of there a day with this clean cardboard, which by doing this and recovering this quality of cardboard, they will be able to, get more money than what they've been getting in the past. They also, what they would like to do is they've invited the city council. They'd like to have a special tour for just the city councils to come up. They would like to show them all of the facility up there. And they figure that it would, with this recycling program that's going to be coming up, and we've got to implement this next year, that we could get a lot of insight and a lot of important information in seeing how the facility functions and operates. So they would like to set up tours, and they'll do those anytime if we would like to go as a council. They says if you want to do it on a council night and have your council meeting up there, they're more than welcome. That we'd be more than welcome to use their facility and actually have the council there and then just do our tour if we'd like to, or just go up and do a tour. So what do you think? You guys interested in going up there?
I'm
I'd
definitely
love
interested. Yeah.
Blair's excited too.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I know you guys would be.
Hey, Mary, real quick on the recycling program. Is that something that we need to start talking about sooner rather than later?
Yeah, Dave and I kind of discussed that, and we're trying to get this all put together so that when we're ready when we have a retreat this year to really jump in on that and get going on it. So.
Got it. Okay.
So was that your only question, Jeremy?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so I had a question on with the clean cardboard. Is that going to extend the life of the landfill at all?
That's been a big I don't know if I want to call it a controversy, but maybe misinformation. A lot of information that has gone out on that by doing all of this recycling and diverting a lot of our garbage to our other mega landfill that's down west of Tooele is going to save the life of the landfill by 15 or 20 years, and that's not true. All of this that they're doing is probably going to save that landfill by just a few years, is all. And but what all of this is doing, whatever we can divert now and whatever we can get operating and running properly, when that time comes, we're going to be better off because of it.
Didn't he say 7 or 7.5 years or something like that when he came and talked?
What's the life
That
expectancy?
they thought that it was going to be about 15 years,
But it's not.
but it's not. I think they're down to like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, I thought
Is
it
what
was
they're
7 or
thinking.
7.5 years.
So right now, your residential waste, most of that is being deferred right now. So they defer 100 tons per year of waste out of there. They're trying to step that up. They're hoping that this year that they can step that up, or next year to 125 tons per year. They've got if you remember, I can't remember when it was, but they took over the transportation, the transporting of all that waste. And so that's all under the district now. And they've saved a ton of money by doing that. And they've expanded it. They're going to buy 2 more tractors to haul that out there. And so anything that they can do, but you know, and by adding this cardboard recovery system up there, it's just going to help in making a little more money that they can put towards their cost, you know. So they've got, I talked about, they had Amoresco. They've got a new contract. That's who they contracted with to take over their methane gas that they produce up there. They have been sending that, you know, over into Hillfield, and Hill Air Force Base has been using that. And they've had that Bitcoin up there that's been using some of that. So Amoresco is going to take over the full system. And when they do that, the money that they're receiving now compared to what they'll be getting from Amoresco, they'll be getting 10 times more in funds from Amoresco than what they're getting right now, which is going to be really good to help with costs up there. So
what I'm hearing is they shouldn't raise rates for it.
Yeah, I was just gonna
they
say that.
shouldn't, but they are. And now I lost my
sorry.
train of thought. Oh, they had Amoresco. This is interesting. They had Amoresco come in and they took a what do they call it? When they send up a drone. Thank you. Couldn't think of that. They put up a drone and this drone drug a hose, and they did a grid pattern, a really tight grid pattern over the full landfill up there, because they wanted to see how much methane gas was leaking out, you know. And when they finished, there was almost zero. They were amazed that it was as tight as what it really is up there. They said that the only areas that had any signs was the open areas where they're dumping at now. And then they had an area where they had planted trees. It's kind of on the outskirts. They said that was the only area. But over the main portion of all of that that's been capped, they says there's hardly any methane that's leaking out of that. So I thought that was good.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's
So
mine.
I had one
Angie?
question to follow up on that, though. I
Okay.
thought at one point you said that the Wasatch Integrated was receiving some pushback about mandating recycling. And so they were maybe not going to do the mandate, but it sounds like what you just reported,
No,
they're going to continue with
they're
that.
doing it. They're doing it. They're not, they're doing it on an incentive, trying to
Okay.
get everybody to bundle. And they're going to, and your incentive is that, so what they want is, they would like for us to roll out the recycling cans, the blue cans, to everyone. And they got what they call their opt-out program. So they would like all of the cities to do an opt-out program where you roll out the cans and then you give a specific time frame, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, whatever, for residents to opt out of the program. And if they do, then, we go out and pick up.
And
the
that's
blue
only
cans.
for existing
But that's
customers,
existing.
not new customers.
Yeah, so that's just that's everybody in the city. So then
Mhm.
once that opt-out program is over, then anyone new that moves into the city, whatever it may be, anyone new starting a new account with the city, they get the blue can and there's no opt-out. It's automatic, you're locked in. So there will be that opt-out program. If we feel as a council that we would like to, if we've got some elderly residents that there's just no way that they're going to do this recycling program or cannot, then we can give them an exemption and pull them off from it. But they're wanting, and with that, they want to at least, I think, and this might not be exact, but I think they want to have at least 70% or higher participating in this recycling program. If the cities can get that, is that all right, Dave? Then they'll give us an incentive program, and then, because all of the waste that we send up there, we're charged for at a
Right.
certain rate. And so if we can get on this recycling, then our incentive, then they'll lower that price of that.
So they're
because
doing more of incentive instead of a
that's- So
mandated.
they're not calling it a mandate yet.
Okay, fantastic. Thank
So
you.
they hope that they would like the cities, we can do it however we want. They would like to see us do a bundle program where we bundle it together. You got any other information than that, Dave? Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Awesome. I have nothing to
So
report.
that's it. So it's, we have by July of 2025, this has to be rolled out. So we've been looking at how, our biggest issue is going to be, how are we going to pay for the blue cans?
Mhm.
Are we going to do that as a city, or are we going to have our haulers do that? Right now, it looks like it might be best option to have the hauler provide that. And then in the program that's rolled out in the long term of it, they still end up being the city's property. So it's just over a year, so many year time, and then they do belong to the city. And we can get, by doing that, we can get the $15 can rebate, so.
Is there a concern on the availability of the blue cans with all these cities
They
having to
say
buy?
there's not. They say there's not, so.
So is it too late to jump into the blue can construction business?
No way. Do it.
Blue cans recycled? Kind of wondering, I don't know.
That's a good question.
If
Can I propose that we could create a new segment called Talking Trash with the Mayor? Let it go.
So that's their.
That's called a town hall.
That's the model they came up with, this 40-year,
Uh-huh.
was 40 years of talking trash.
I love that.
Oh, is that what their whole
Yeah.
deal is? 40 years of talking trash.
Yeah. Blair, you're up, anything?
I don't have an update on the public works facility because we did not meet last week.
Isn't Angie supposed to give that update? Oh, sorry.
She was about to,
I was.
yeah, but I cut her off.
Yeah, we didn't meet, so.
Yeah. We are meeting tomorrow, so I will have an update date for you the next meeting. The only other item I have, and I forwarded this to the mayor and Dave, is the Hill Air Force Base Restoration Advisory Board. We'll be sending out the indoor air sampling letters this week. And that is just to give people information on that they can opt in or opt out on the indoor clean air. It's a very simple thing to do. I've done it 3 times now. They just come and put these little things under your sink and in your crawl space or in your basement, whatever you have. And they leave them there for a couple weeks and they come and pick them back up and then they give you a letter on their findings. So it's very simple. It's very free. It's all absolutely free. But you can also sign up in the letter that everyone will receive is a link to a website to sign up for a time. Because a lot of times they're knocking on your door. Yeah. If they don't get people to respond, they're still going to put a campaign together to go around and knock doors. They've done that in the past as well. And so some people in the city may not get it. And that's because they're not in the areas designated as one of the OU or OU2 plumes. So that's all I have.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not very organized tonight. I do have another issue or question, something to bring up. I haven't heard anything from the city staff side. Apparently, one of the other changes that the state legislator made was in changes that cities need to make in relationship to being right next to Hill Air Force Base. Because they talked about some of the stuff that's going on with the Ogden Airport and some things that have to now be changed in city code around that. And then they mentioned specifically for those cities that are around Hill Air Force Base that there's also some type of code change they have to put in, and others are already working on it. You guys don't look like it. So I'll tell you the source and everything, and we can see if we can find out about it. I hadn't heard anything. This was the first time I had heard about it. So,
I'm
but it
happy
was,
to look into that, but that's news to me.
yeah, okay.
I haven't heard anything.
Because the stuff for the Ogden Airport was because they're wanting to develop those pieces of property. So they have to do a whole development plan rezoning it.
Yeah.
I didn't
And
know it had anything to do with Hill Air Force Base.
it doesn't. They're two separate things, but they were talking about it because of the development area around there, that anyone within, I believe, either 10 or 20 miles of the Ogden Airport had to put something in, but the Hill Air Force Base only affected those that were literally butted right up to the base. I'll
Yeah, send me the information on that.
Okay.
Look into it. I know there is a compatible use plan for Hill Air Force Base and all of the cities surrounding them, and we've been part of that as they generated it and whatnot, but I hadn't heard anything coming down from the legislature, so.
Okay.
Yeah, shoot that over to me and I'll take a look.
Yeah, they list the actual statute on there, so yeah, I'll send that to you. Thank you. Sorry.
Fine. Nothing else. We'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Does the staff have anything?
Can I?
Dave,
Update
have
on
one
that.
item. Go ahead.
You might have heard that House Bill 502, the gravel pit study bill, that's what I refer to it as. They call it critical infrastructure. Jamie used that phrase too, but I call it gravel.
I call it something else.
That study is taking place right now. And the company, the consultant that is running that is named Stantec. They have requested some data and information from all of the cities that have gravel pits. And we decided that we wanted to not only provide that data, but also to tell our story. So you may have seen through the email or social media, a very short survey that just asks, are you affected by gravel pit dust? What is your experience with it? And do you have any pictures? Within 2 hours, we had 75 responses. Within 24 hours, we were 150. It's now been a week and we have 233 responses. So we have a story to tell the state, and I'm actually really pleased about it. There's some very dramatic pictures and videos that people have provided. We're working with our GIS group with Brandon to be able to kind of map it and storyboard it and whatnot, so it'll be easy for Stantec and the state legislature hopefully to see it and feel the human side of this rather than just some of the raw data. So that's what that's all about. I ended up getting a phone call the next day from KSL News Radio asking about what spurred this, why are we doing it, why are we asking it now? It's all related to that HB 502 study. We have until a week from Friday to turn that in. So a little bit of a short turnaround time. They didn't give us a long time to respond with this data request, but I'm very hopeful that that can be as dramatic as when the county commissioners came a couple of years ago and they saw some of those images and went, oh, we had no idea that's what you're dealing with. Well, hopefully we can take that up a notch and share that same story with the state legislature.
Yeah,
Can we send out the link to that survey again? And
it's on the Facebook.
is it?
Yeah.
Um, I'm just saying that if we send something out again, something on
Push it
the
again.
Facebook link. And it would be great if we could get any of the businesses or even the big, like the charter school or something like that, if they would get involved in it, just to show the examples that they've had to deal with it also.
Yeah.
So
We'll make sure that all the responses that as a city council, you'll receive all that data as well and be able to see that. So I think these images will be things that we can use for a while to tell this story as long as we do.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Dave.
Mary, make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.